law enacted in April set a January 19th deadline for TikTok to be sold or else face a ban in the United States. The popular social media platform has more than 170 million users in the country. Lawyers for the company and China-based ByteDance asked the justices to step in. The High Court will also hear arguments from content creators who rely on the platform for income and some TikTok users. Hayat Panjwani, Washington.
Once again on Wall Street, the Dow down by 1,123 points. The Nasdaq dropping 716 with the S&P 500 dropping 178. More at townhall.com.
This Christmas, gather your loved ones as we at TBN celebrate the birth of Jesus. Enjoy powerful performances by For King and Country, Matthew West, Danny Goki, and Natalie Grant. Along with inspiring messages from Joel Osteen, Rick Warren, Max Lucado, and others.
Merry Christmas to you guys.
Tune in or stream meaningful programming anytime on the TBN Plus app. Visit tbn.org to learn more and make TBN part of your holiday tradition.
Do you just grin and bear it or bite the bullet when it comes to everyday pain? Don't. Try Relief Factor, a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. It's 100% drug-free, it's developed by doctors. In 3 weeks or less, you'll know whether it works for you like it works for me. Try Relief Factor for yourself. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Stocks sank to their second worst loss of the year after the Federal Reserve signaled it may deliver fewer interest rate cuts in 2025 than earlier thought. The S&P 500 dropped 2.9% to pull further from its all-time high set a couple of weeks ago. The Dow sank more than 1,100 points, and the Nasdaq Composite dropped 3.6%. Fed officials released projections showing they're penciling in just 2 cuts to interest rates next year instead of the 4 they were projecting a few months ago. The Dow was down 1,123 points to finish at 42,326. The Nasdaq lost 716 to 19,392. The S&P 500 dropped 178 points to 5872. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com. Inflation in the UK has risen.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Cloudy with a low this evening, dipping down to 55. Tomorrow it's cloudy early. The skies do clear midday, and the sun will rise, but not as warm. A high of 62. More sunshine for Friday and the weekend, but it'll be much cooler. Low temps Saturday and Sunday night in the low to mid-20s. So bundle up. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody, and what an edition of Sports Talk it is on this Wednesday night. Great to have you with us. We've made the run down to the beach for our coverage of the annual Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, the old North-South game at Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium. Got a chance to watch some practice this afternoon, North and South. Looking forward to having the game for you on Saturday. It's a noon airtime and a 12:30 kickoff. I might have said earlier last week perhaps 11:30 with a noon kickoff, but they've gone to the old schedule So noon airtime and 12:30 kickoff on our network, and we've got great stations lined up to bring you that game on Saturday, All-Star Saturday in South Carolina, playoff Saturday in South Carolina with the Touchstone Bowl, the Shrine Bowl, Clemson playing in Austin against the University of Texas. So Saturday's going to be a big football day for the state of South Carolina. Big day today for South Carolina Gamecocks themselves. Well, we'll see how big it is down the road. But they signed two more out of the portal, John. One, a proven performer, Jordan Dingle, tight end from Kentucky. He's got some money in the bank as far as the kind of player he is and what he can do as a tight end. He is a kid who's actually from the state of South Carolina, and they did recruit him coming out of high school, but he ended up going to Kentucky. That's where he was living. He was living in the state of Kentucky, but he had lived some in South Carolina, but he chose to go to Kentucky. But now, as a free agent, he has signed with South Carolina, and the Gamecocks also today added a free agent defensive tackle from Texas A&M, who coming out of high school was a big deal. It was a really big deal. And he goes to Texas A&M and hasn't done much. So he's one of these guys that you hope you catch him maybe on the rebound and you can make something out of him that he wasn't able to do at his original spot. Gabriel Dindy is the player. Actually goes by, well, I think he goes by on his X, it's Gabriel Dindy, but his full name is Gabriel Brownlow Dindy, and big defensive tackle. So at the very least, you got a big dude to build around or to add into your defensive line in time at South Carolina. We'll talk more about both of these fellows in recruiting a little bit later on. Got to say, the South Carolina-Clemson basketball game last night at the Colonial Life Arena was one of the best basketball games I have seen, regular season or otherwise. That game had NCAA tournament feel to it. I mean, the crowd is a big crowd. I'd say maybe, I could go look it up, it's about 12 or 13,000. But they were passionate both ways. A lot of Clemson fans in the building, South Carolina fans rooting hard for their team, and it was a heck of a ball game. The reason I loved it was because it was kind of old-fashioned basketball. We actually had post play. We actually had passes into the post. We had passes coming out of the post. We had backdoor cuts with the posts feeding the cutters. We had people running off the post for screens. It was good old-fashioned basketball instead of just coming down and jacking up a three. And South Carolina won it. Neither team deserved to lose. And when I say that, I mean they both played well. The second half was a shooting exhibition. South Carolina ended up, not counting overtime, but in the second 20 minutes, they only missed 6 shots. They were 16 of 22 from the floor. But Chase Hunter put Clemson on his back in the second half and overtime, 27 points after being held scoreless in the first half. Clemson, as we thought, 19 of 21 from the foul line. South Carolina, we previewed this last night. We said free throw shooting would be key, and South Carolina's not a good free throw shooting team, and Clemson is. The Tigers only missed 2. The Gamecocks missed 10 from the line, but they did hit the 2 in the last 3 seconds to make it a 3-point game. Hunter got a last-second look at a 3 but couldn't knock it down. So terrific win for South Carolina. Another heartbreaking loss for Clemson. Another overtime loss for Clemson. And the Gamecocks, with their schedule, if they take care of business, they should be a 10-win team when they go to SEC play in January. And they could be matching the football team's number of wins at 10 if the football team wins its bowl game. And Clemson has another ACC game at home on Saturday against Wake Forest. Tough timing, tough scheduling there when you think about all of Clemson's attention is going to be on the football game on Saturday afternoon. So we got a lot to talk about. Chris Bergen joining us. He's back. No, he's not. I'm sorry. He's not at the Berge Palace.
No,
he has moved to – no. I'm just saying you're not at the Berge Palace, but you have moved to a 5-star hotel to prepare to leave for wonderful Arkansas in the morning.
Yes, I'm in the middle of road trips. Got back to the house last night about 2:45. Fell asleep maybe around 3:15. Woke up this morning. I've got to be at the airport here in Myrtle Beach at about 6 or so tomorrow morning. So I thought it would make a whole lot more sense to come down here and spend the night at a luxury resort outside the Bergie Palace. So I'm going to hang out here, go down to the spa after we get done with the show. And then I'll get ready and wake up bright and early tomorrow morning, head over to the airport, and we fly out to Memphis because there's no working airports anywhere close to Jonesboro, Arkansas, other than Memphis, Tennessee, which is about an hour away. So we'll actually stay in Memphis tomorrow night. Team's going to practice in Memphis, not at the University of Memphis, but one of the other colleges there tomorrow, and then also Friday morning, and then we'll drive over to Jonesboro for a game on Saturday afternoon. Drive back to Memphis after the game on Saturday night. Spend the night, wake up, bright and early on a Sunday morning, fly back here. I'll turn around and return to Myrtle Beach on Monday morning, bright and early for the Myrtle Beach Bowl, which kicks off at 11 o'clock on Monday. Fun times. This is a fun week for me. Christmas Eve may be a situation where I just sack out at the house. And
I don't blame you.
Several hours.
I don't blame you. A nice win for Coastal last night, though, at North Carolina A&T.
First time ever, believe it or not, that the Chanticleers have beaten North Carolina A&T in 5 tries. We were talking about the Carolina Clemson game. And by the way, quick comment on that. Somebody needs to let Pat Adams and Joe Lindsey and also William Covington realize nobody came to watch them work. When Ian Shefflin and Colin Murray Boyles and key weapons for both teams are off the floor because of fouls, it's not a good thing. And you're right, that was as good a basketball game as you could have possibly asked for between the two in-state rivals. And you're right. Neither team deserved to lose. Bigger win probably for the Gamecocks than it was a devastating loss for Clemson because I think Clemson will have a chance to rally back during the ACC, but that was one the Gamecocks had to have. Especially considering they screwed up the end of regulation. For those of you in the back, foul up 3 late in the game. I don't understand why this is difficult for coaches. Lamont Paris said he told his team to do it. They didn't execute it. I don't understand why that's even a problem there. I was watching the replay of Hunter's shot to end regulation, and the Gamecocks had a guy right beside him. Just foul him, bump into him, knock him down. I mean, I don't get why this is so difficult for so many coaches and so many teams because of what happened. Carolina probably could have lost that game because they could not handle end-of-game situations, and it just happens way too often. So, again, for those of you in the back, always foul up 3 late in college basketball. But actually, Phil, I saw the same game you watched. It just happened to take place in Greensboro because Coastal and North Carolina A&T mirrored exactly what happened in Columbia. Every time the Gamecocks would make a run, so did the Chanticleers. Every time the Tigers would make a run, so did the Aggies of North Carolina A&T. Coastal was up 10 at the half. I think the Gamecocks were up 8 at the half. But the funny part was, the same time as Carolina Clemson did last night. I got done with the broadcast. Packed up my bags,
got on the bus, and we were leaving when Clemson banked in the free throw late at overtime. That shows you how much longer that game was because of all the fouls and everything that went on. But, yeah, terrific ball games on both sides and a good win for Coastal, 73-68 to wrap up non-conference play before we get our hands on probably the best team in the Sun Belt, a team that actually has already beaten Memphis, speaking of which, in Arkansas State on Saturday.
All right. Also today, officially introduced as a new OC quarterback coach at South Carolina, Mike Shula. We're going to hear from him, and we'll hear what Shane Beamer had to say in introducing him to the media today. We'll bring you that in just a little bit, and also we'll hear from the two basketball coaches. Also tonight, we'll have an edition of Chalk Talk for you with Chuck Reedy and Ellis Johnson at 7:05, and then 7:35 tonight, SC Wild with Major Billy Downer. You talk about road trips. He's been on a road trip. He's been doing some waterfowl hunting, and he'll be joining us at 7:35 from somewhere. I don't know where he is. I don't know if he's in state or he's gone out of state, but he'll join us from somewhere to talk about what he's been doing with waterfowl hunting, and I'm sure he'll have some thoughts about Christmas gifts for the outdoorsman on your list. Holiday gifts for those folks. So that'll be coming up at 7:35. Happy to take your phone calls and your questions for him at that time. Our phone number is 888-898-2525. That is the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to reach us here on Sports Talk. You can also hit us up on our text line, and that number is 803-900-4847. Be sure to follow us on our various streams. Of course, you can always get us online at the Chief Sports app. If you haven't downloaded, do so. It's a free app, and it's a wonderful app. It has our show and many, many others that you can tune into, both live and in podcast form. And, of course, we stream on YouTube and on X and on Facebook and on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. One quick question. Maybe Josh will have to answer this. He's sort of the techno wizard of the program. So I saw why Elon Musk is telling people not to use a hashtag. He says it's ugly and it's not necessary. Now, Josh, what does that mean?
It's stupid. I think we should use hashtags. It's easy. You can click on it. If you see a hashtag that says hashtag Clemson, you can click on all the posts that have the hashtag Clemson. So if you want to read about Clemson, you just click on that. Doesn't make any sense.
I mean, he's saying it's not necessary. He's saying, does that mean there's another search option that if you just type in, say, Clemson, it's going to pull up everything that says Clemson?
Well, sure. I mean, if you go into the search bar on X and type in Clemson, it's going to show in everything for Clemson. But I think it's just another one of those Elon things. I don't think he's going to take them away, but I don't understand it.
Yeah. He's threatening.
I want to know, Phil, when we went away from calling it a pound sign. That's what it was for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
When did all of a sudden it had to become a hashtag?
When the guy
Josh
who created
doesn't even know
Twitter,
what a pound sign is.
Come on now. I know what a pound sign is.
Well, the guy who created Twitter, I guess, he must have come up with the word hashtag for – I didn't know what a hashtag was when it first came out. I'm like, what does that mean? What is a hashtag? And I didn't do it. I refused to do it because it was an extra key you had to use when you typed in, Gamecocks and then you had to figure out, well, South Carolina uses hashtag Gamecocks for them. Clemson uses hashtag Clemson for them. Coastal, I'm still not sure. Is it hashtag CCU or hashtag Coastal?
It is.
What is it?
Yep. Hashtag CCU.
Yeah. They use that for their sports. I'm not
that's
sure.
a good question. I'm not even sure if they use it.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's a confusing deal, but Uncle Elon says, he's trying to cut wastes and spending. Though I did see in this continuing resolution that our good friends in the legislature in Washington, you see this? They've voted themselves, or they want to give themselves a $70,000 raise. In this, if I can throw a little politics in there, this made me nauseated. It really did. They want to give themselves a $70,000 raise. I'm going to ask Ellis Johnson about this. Ellis will have something to say. They want to give themselves a $70,000 raise from 160 to 230. And my first response is, for what? I mean, seriously, what have you done to deserve a $70,000 raise off our backs? I ask you that question.
And it is the only business, Phil, where the employer does not get to dictate whether or not and how much the employee makes. I mean, we pay those salaries. I think it should go up for a vote. You want to get a raise? All right, put it for a national vote. They realize, of course, if they do that, none of them will ever get a raise because none of them are worth it.
We do have that. It's called elections every 2 years. So I'd say vote them all. If you vote for a raise in this era of the economy, I would say vote them out. I'm going to ask Ellis about that. He'll have something to say. All right, we're going to hit the break here on Sports Talk. We'll come back, hit up a few phone calls, and we're going to hear from Mike Shula. We're going to hear from the basketball coaches. We got some recruiting. We'll talk more about the two portal signees the Gamecocks picked up today as they continue to build their roster through whatever measures that are possible. And they also signed some more of their current players to their NIL deals, meaning they'll be back. We'll touch on that as well. It's Sports Talk, Wednesday night. Be back in a moment.
Football season is upon us, and that means Columbia is welcoming fans from around the corner and across the country. No matter where you're from, Gamecocks love coming together for game day energy that can only be found in South Carolina's capital city. Book hotel rooms, find pre- and post-game activities, and plan your tailgate spread with local favorites from pimento cheese to barbecue at experiencecolumbiasc.com. We'll see you soon, and go Gamecocks!
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. Since 2002, South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. With every lottery play, you're supporting our students, and that adds up in a big way. That's why education is our middle name. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wow from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Touchstone Energy Cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare.
I did today and late last night. It was the first time.
Through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
G3 here with Tsunami Bar Sports, and it's time for a fall preview. That's right, 720 Chris Drive, 378 and I-26, Frontage Road, where you can now preview the best technology for golf known to man. It's the Tsunami Bar. It's live weight. It's the only technology out where you get your tempo and flow going before you play. Now, it also serves as a pattern support tool. 720 Chris Drive, Frontage Road, 378 and I-26. You also can visit the Garage Gym Pro Shop. Pick up your tools, take them home, and while you're here, tour the Scramble Course 6-hole pitch and putt right now.
Beautiful, beautiful day at the beach. 75 degrees. I mean, the players were loving it. And this was their first day of practice. They had 2 practices today, 2 practices tomorrow. And also tomorrow, the highlight of the week beside the football game is the 2 teams go to the local Target here in Myrtle Beach, and they meet up with a bunch of young kids. They take them shopping, like $150 per kid that Touchstone Energy Cooperatives gives, and more. Bob Pauling will stand at the cash register, and if it's 2 players per 1 kid, and he'll stand at the cash register, and if they come up and the kid's picked out too much merchandise and he's a few dollars short or whatever, he'll just stand there and give them the money. He's got
that's so great.
He's got handfuls of dollar bills. And he just hands them and says, hey, you need another $10 to get that. Here you go. Just take care of them. They take care of them. That's great stuff. Also, I want to mention before we get to phone calls, 888-898-2525. Please keep David Shelton, our good friend, our dear friend, David Shelton, in your thoughts. He has surgery tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock for his, he has said it, he has a heart issue. He's having triple bypass surgery tomorrow. 8 o'clock in the morning in Charleston. And I spoke with him yesterday. Didn't speak with him today. Spoke with him every other day this week. He's feeling good, and they feel like they're ready to go. 8 o'clock in the morning, I told him, David, I said, you know why doctors do surgery at 8 o'clock in the morning? They do surgery at 8 o'clock in the morning so they can get to their 10 o'clock tee times. So they're going to go in there and do their stuff and then get to the golf course. Anyway, we wish David the best, thinking about him, and everybody keep David in your thoughts as he goes through this, and he's going to be facing a real long, lengthy recovery road here. So hopefully everything will go smoothly. I'm confident that it will, and he'll be back on the air with us during the next football season. All right, 888-898-2525. Let's go to the phones for a couple of minutes. We've got Gamecock Larry up with us first tonight. Welcome in, Gamecock Larry. How are you?
I'm doing all right, Phil. Jabbo, we own you by 3. Brad, we own you by 3. Game lady basketball, we own you by, I think, 33. We own the state of South Carolina in recruiting. We own Clemson. They have given the Gamecocks has given a Gamecock Larry a good year. But I want to say one thing. I want to thank all my friends on 100.7 for the
got me. Can you hear me?
Calls and the cards.
Still showing muted.
I appreciate it.
So I'm hoping it is. If not, I can go away.
Me and your prayers. And everything's going to go all right. And, one more thing. Clemson going down by 17, 41 to 24. Go Gamecocks. Love all y'all, Phil. I just talked to Pat. Pat called me. He's going to try to come by to see me tomorrow. Coach Ray Tanner called me. He's going to try to get out there. But I love all y'all. I don't care whether you're a Clemson fan. I just don't like the Clemson Tigers. But I love y'all. Go Gamecocks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Larry. You sound a little bit better tonight, so keep on improving, keep on getting stronger and feeling better. Always great to hear from you. Let's go to Tiger Bryan in Lancaster. Up with us next. Tiger Bryan, welcome in. How you doing, sir?
Tiger Bryan dropped, so if he can call back, that'd be
Tiger Bryan
good.
has dropped. TB, what's up with that dropping? We don't do dropping. Dropping is not allowed on
Larry
Sports
forgot
Talk.
about volleyball.
And soccer.
I think South Carolina is like what now? 5-0 against Clemson. Is that? Let's see. They won. It's been the Gamecocks year so far. They won football. They won men's basketball. They won women's basketball. They won what else?
Soccer,
Volleyball.
Both
and
men
split the two soccer games were draws.
Yeah.
So it's 4-0-2. Yeah, it's been their year. Kind of goes that way sometimes. This is the year the Gamecocks have won it all. And you know what? The football team won by 3, and the men's basketball team won by 3 in overtime. And I tell you what, they could have played 5 extra sessions last night, and I wouldn't have minded because the basketball was so good. Those teams played so hard and so well. It was a pleasure to be there to watch. We'll be back in a moment.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Cloudy with a low this evening, dipping down to 55. Tomorrow it's cloudy early. The skies do clear midday, and the sun arrives, but not as warm. A high of 62. More sunshine for Friday and the weekend, but it'll be much cooler. Low temps Saturday and Sunday night in the low to mid-20s. So bundle up. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Tradition and quality. That's what you get with H&J Cattle Company, where local third-generation farmers ensure you receive the finest beef in South Carolina. Our registered Hereford and Wagyu cattle are raised with sustainable practices, without growth hormones, antibiotics, or animal byproducts. Taste the difference with the highest quality beef guaranteed. Order now at hdjcattle.co or on Instagram and Facebook at H&J Cattle Co. Again, hdjcattle.co, where where ethics meets quality.
Son Keith Peters reporting the oldest known stone tablet inscribed with the Ten Commandments sold for more than $5 million at an auction on Wednesday. Sotheby's said the 155-pound marble slab was acquired by an anonymous buyer who plans to donate it to an Israeli institution. The New York-based auction house said the final price exceeded the pre-sale estimate of $1 million to $2 million. President-elect Donald Trump has abruptly rejected a bipartisan plan to prevent a Christmas-time government shutdown, instead telling House Speaker Mike Johnson and Republicans to essentially renegotiate just days before a deadline when federal funding runs out. A rough day on Wall Street with the Dow plunging 1,123 points, the Nasdaq down 716. This is SRN News.
If you are 65 or older, you know this. Inflation is...
Step into a brighter future with Broker Solar. Transform your home, your business, your nonprofit into a beacon of efficiency and savings. With Broker Solar, you're not just installing solar panels, you're setting the foundation for long-term financial savings, taking control over these power companies that, well, let's face it, they have a monopoly. You can't choose your power company, but you can control the cost of your power. Ken and his expert team will help you to navigate through any complexities of solar energy. They'll tailor a system that's perfectly fit for your needs and for your budget. Get a rooftop setup or somewhere else on your land, or just start with solar to integrate powerful battery backups so when the storms do come, the power goes out in your block, it'll stay on at your home. It's not for everyone, but if you're even curious, don't you owe it to yourself to reach out and call Broker Solar for a free consultation? Listen, if you trust the point, if you trust me, I'm telling you, you can trust Broker Solar. Explore your solar potential at brokersolar.com. Start generating power on your terms. Broker Solar, empowering you while shining above the rest.
The holiday shopping season is here. Get ahead of the crowd by shopping early and shopping smart with Founders Federal Credit Union. Now through December 31st, take advantage of 7.99% APR on select purchases made with your Founders credit card. Go get the hottest toys for the kids, or maybe even book a holiday getaway with your family. It's all possible with Founders Federal Credit Union. Spread more holiday cheer this year without breaking your budget. Visit foundersfcu.com/cc for more information. To obtain additional cost information, please contact us at 1-800-845-1614. Terms and conditions apply. On July 1st, 2025, the promotional APR will revert to the effective APR as previously disclosed. Visit foundersfcu.com/cc for a list of qualifying purchases. And happy holidays from Founders Federal Credit Union.
Excuse me, can I interest you in an easy way to reduce your energy usage and save money at home?
Yeah.
Did you know Dominion Energy has an online store?
No. Where is this online store?
Online at EnergyWiseShop.com.
What's in it for me?
Huge discounts off Energy Star certified smart thermostats, advanced power strips.
Any hidden fees?
No. And you get free shipping with qualified orders.
I see EnergyWiseShop.com in my future. Thanks for the tip.
Certain restrictions apply.
As we celebrate 10 fantastic years at Sweet Comfort Services, we're cooling you off with unbeatable deals on all SEER 2 and high-efficiency AC equipment. Hey Point family, mention this ad and get a thorough spring maintenance check from our expert non-commissioned techs for just $95 for your first system and a chill $45 each additional system. Look us up at sweethvac.com or call us at 331-8143. Celebrating a decade of keeping you cool and comfy. That's the Sweet Comfort promise.
To 8, feeling just right. Phil, Chris, and Josh, they're in the zone. Across South Carolina, they're well known. Sports Talk, bringing the heat. Talking sports, can't be beat. Tune in, don't you pout. It's a show you can't live without.
Busy night here on Sports Talk. Glad you're with us. Coming up, we'll hear from the basketball coaches from last night's game in Columbia. What a game it was. Just a moment, and Shane Beamer will introduce Mike Shula right here on this program. You've not heard this before, right? No, this is not live. This is Memorex. Remember Memorex? People don't know what Memorex is. Is it live or is it Memorex?
I do.
Remember that commercial?
About that.
Yeah. 7:05 Chalk Talk will be live And then 7:35, SC Wild will be live. We'll have recruiting for you as well. Right now, though, South Carolina does have their new offensive coordinator, quarterback coach. It made a lot of sense. And this was a no-brainer. And this is smart. This is smart organizational building, I think. And that is I hate to, people don't like to compare, but I don't mind comparing. It's very similar to what Dabo Swinney's done at Clemson. He always had coaches waiting in the background to replace coaches on his staff who inevitably moved on to head coaching jobs or something else. He had somebody waiting in the wings many times, not every time, obviously, but a lot of times he could promote from within. And so Shane Beamer's done the same thing. He's surrounded himself with veteran analysts, experienced analysts, and guys ready to fill in if somebody goes and takes a head coaching job, which was the case here. He had Mike Shula, ready to go, well prepared, a seasoned head coach, obviously, a seasoned coach, both as a head coach and as a play caller. Nothing to not like with this situation, I would say. So today, our man Josh went and covered for us since I was on the road, and Bergie was gone as well, and Smitty's getting ready to go to Texas. So he was the one that got to go over to USC and cover this for us. We thank him for that. Here's Shane Beamer making the introduction of Mike Shula.
I think a lot of Coach Shula, when we hired him, I probably talked about this, but obviously his being a coach, his son, just like me, is very endearing as well. His dad, obviously no one in the NFL has won more games than his dad did. He grew up around the game. He played the game. That's what I like. He's a quarterback that played football in the SEC. As well. So it's been cool going around to some SEC venues and asking him, how'd you do in Vanderbilt Stadium when you played up here? And how'd you do at some of these places that we visited? Or when we went to Alabama, where was your locker in this locker room and stuff like that? But he's got a great story, SEC experience. He was the head coach at Mississippi State when I was an assistant coach the head coach at Alabama when I was an assistant coach at Mississippi State. Sorry, coach, as well. So competed against him and always had a ton of respect for him then. And then just following his career, the respect has only grown. When I was thinking about this, I've never worked with him outside of this past year. So I've seen him in the role that he's in right now and knew that he would be good, but I had never seen him in a coordinator role. So I reached out to some guys that played for him that were starters on the Carolina Panthers offense when they played for the Super Bowl. And just, I know about Coach Shula, the person, and Coach Shula, the person that works with the quarterbacks. Tell me about Coach Shula, the offensive coordinator that you played for in Charlotte. And they couldn't have been more awesome in their praise of him and what he meant to them as people, as coaches, as players, schematically, relationships, all that as well. So he's been great, works closely with our quarterbacks, got a great track record, and it's this year in college football for him, I think it's been good and probably helped him grow even more as a coach. He's got a great background from his time in the NFL and college, and he will continue to make our quarterbacks better, our offense better, and this program better as well. So that's why Mike Shula is our new offensive coordinator. So welcome, Coach.
Hey, thank you. Super excited and extremely grateful. Number one, grateful to D'Lo for reaching out and giving me the opportunity to get here last year, and for Coach Beamer to allow that to happen. I couldn't have had a more exciting year for me. It's been very energizing personally for me. And the reason really it didn't start it started before the winning. It was just because of the people. There's so many. I didn't really know many people here. I knew Joe DeCamillis. We coached together at Jacksonville, but it's good to feel wanted, and I feel extremely motivated now. Number one, to help our offense and help this football team finish the season the way we want to finish it. It's going to be a big challenge against Illinois. And then, as I spoke to the offensive players just briefly a couple days ago, just to continue to build on what we have and try to make it better, and do that with the foundation of the young men that we have here now, and hopefully put some more pieces, add more pieces to the puzzle, both with the young guys coming in and with the portal. That's been a new thing for me. It's been very interesting, especially this past week, just to seeing the dynamic of all the ins and outs of what's happened in college football. And I think that like I said, I learned a long time ago, surround yourself with good people, work as hard as you can, believe in yourself, believe in the people around you, and good things will happen. And I think that's manifested itself this year. These guys there's something different about this group of players. Now, I was working with the quarterbacks obviously most of the year, but I had a chance to kind of just observe some of the other positions and really not get to know them a whole lot, but just watch. And these guys are motivated. They're motivated to win. They're motivated to prove to themselves and to the people in this state, in this university, and really around the country, what we're about and what we can be about moving forward. So again, super excited and very grateful.
How much does your relationship with Lenoris from this past year kind of give you a heads up or a good first step as you take on this job?
Yeah, I think it's a lot. He's and you guys know him he's been up here a heck of a lot more than I have, and he's an interesting guy in such a good way, and he's extremely competitive. He's smart. He's a fast learner, and he has a way about himself that, without really saying a whole lot or being very vocal, that attracts guys in a leadership, and where he's a leader. So hopefully our relationship that we've built here since last March will benefit us and benefit this football team moving forward.
With Lenoris, and obviously you were on the field with him during the games and certainly talking to him a lot, presumably. What did you kind of learn about him during those types of moments when you're having that face-to-face interaction with him when you're in the midst of a game?
Well, I think the biggest thing, he's very poised, and it's hard to kind of see that to start with because everything was so new, even in the first game, and when maybe we weren't clicking quite as well as we should have been, and he maybe missed a couple throws or a couple reads, just to kind of see how he was after a negative play. Was that going to affect the next series? And he's pretty cool. Now he's doing so many good things, and I mean this in a positive way. He's doing so many good things right now, but he still has a lot to learn and will grow. And again, I mean that in a positive way. And when he does, if he continues the way he's kind of ascended this year, I mean, it can be a really cool thing. And I think, kind of a recruiting pitch, but I think if you're a player out there, whether or not you're a young recruit or a transfer player, then I mean, it'd be pretty exciting to have him as your quarterback.
Yeah, Mike, obviously your father left an enormous legacy on football. I don't know how protective you and your family are about it, but was just wondering if when Coach Belichick took the college job at North Carolina, whether it was one of those moments where, like, the 72 Dolphins would pop champagne when the last undefeated went down.
Wait, what's the question? I'm not sure.
I mean, how did that make you feel better, or what was your reaction to that in the sense that now, that looks like that legacy is a little more secure?
Yeah, I really don't get into that much. I do know that not necessarily my brothers and sisters, but extended family and friends, they're kind of texting me and all that. But I have a ton of respect for Coach Belichick. Way back when he actually interviewed me twice when he was with the Browns. That's how old I am. But and was very grateful for that opportunity. And just in his career that what he's done, it's pretty special. And now he's on to a new endeavor, and it just kind of feels like there's some, well, obviously with him, but other coaches that are kind of in the same boat that I've been, where you've coached a long time in the NFL. Now you're back coaching in some degree at some level in college, and it's refreshing. But records are awesome. We're so proud of my dad and being his son, not because he's my dad, number one, but the record. And I know I speak for my sisters and my brother, and it's unique. So yeah, there's pride there as well.
That's pretty cool for South Carolina to have Shula on the coaching staff, Chris. I mean, connected to the all-time winningest
NFL coach. It's like having a Lombardi on your staff. It's like having a son of Bear Bryant. Now, sons don't always perform as well as their dads did. You got Beamer. You got Frank Beamer and his son running this program, Shane Beamer. Time will tell if, the apple fell too far from the tree there. It looks positive this year. I think Mike Shula has a track record of being a good coach. I guess his time at Alabama was kind of up and down, but that's just such a tough place to be. They're so. I don't know what his record was off the top of my head there, but that's just such a tough place to be successful for the long term, as we've seen over the years. So, but I think from the standpoint of the experience and how to run an offense, create an offense, call plays, develop a quarterback, I do think he has a tough act to follow, because I thought Darryl Loggins, look what he did for Spencer Rattler in his 1 year, and look what he did with Lenore Sellers really in 1 year, because Sellers was the backup last year, so he didn't get the attention. He got the attention this year, and look what he did with him.
Oh, exactly. And I'm guessing, no, I'm not guessing. I feel pretty confident that Lenore's had to weigh in on this and probably told Coach Beamer, this is the guy we should keep. Now, whether or not Shane listened to him, and I think it would be silly for him not to have listened to what Lenore's has to say. He's getting that E.F. Hutton approach now. When he talks, I think people listen. And, I agree with you. I think Mike Shula already being in-house, and you made the reference to Dabo Swinney and how he's built his program. Gamecock fans won't like to hear this, but that's quite frankly, if I'm Shane Beamer, that's who I want to model my program after in-state. You can watch what Dabo did, and their careers, Phil, if you look at the win-loss record, their first 4 years, almost identical. They had a terrible third season. Both of them did. Not terrible, 6-7 for Dabo, and then 5-7 last year for Beamer. But if the Gamecocks win the bowl game this year, he'll match the win total that Dabo had in his fourth season with 10 wins. And that started this run of, double-digit victories almost every year for the Tigers. So, yeah, there are a lot of things. I think you can draw a lot of parallels from what Shane Beamer is doing in building his program at USC to what Dabo Swinney, the foundation he laid when he first took over with the Tigers. And, again, I don't think that's necessarily a bad decision on Shane Beamer's part at all.
All right, going to hit the break here on Sports Talk and shift gears to the basketball game last night. Want you to hear from the two head coaches, a few of their thoughts after what was a classic South Carolina-Clemson basketball game in overtime. It was, both teams had their runs. It looked like South Carolina was going to run away, and then Clemson called up. Clemson never really looked like they were going to run away, but they did go on top, and then the Gamecocks called up, and it was back and forth, nip and tuck, nose to nose, eye to eye, cheek to cheek. Be right back.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Whether it's becoming a teacher, dentist, or engineer, every child deserves the chance to chase their dreams. Investing in a child's education with Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan, can help turn those big dreams into next steps. So don't wait. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
Avoiding excess financial stress from the holidays doesn't take a Christmas miracle. All it takes is a Christmas loan from Founders Federal Credit Union. Our Christmas loan is designed to ease your Yuletide expenses so you can focus on what matters most, spreading joy and love. With our great rates, flexible repayment options, and outstanding service, you'll be ready for whatever the holidays might throw your way. Visit foundersfcu.com/Christmas loan to unwrap your own magic this Christmas. Relax with Founders Federal Credit Union. Terms and conditions apply. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Required.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wild from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hostetler Brown. Helping an aging loved one arrange for their care can be one of the most difficult things you will ever do. Fortunately, you don't have to navigate this maze alone. Lawyer Lisa's knowledgeable life care team can lead you down the right path. Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with a family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at sccattle.org. Beef, it's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff Program. Touchstone Energy Cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
Heck of a game last night. Let's go to the tape. Here is USC coach Lamont Paris. Opening statement, couple of questions for him after getting that win over Clemson last night.
Oh, all right. Well, that was fun, interesting, exciting, all the above. So really excited for the guys to have that kind of experience. It's great atmosphere. And then and fight through all the adversity that we had. Some of it was due to Clemson, some of it was on our own behalf, but we showed some real character in some of those moments in regrouping and gathering to channel the right energy and the right focus that it took to win in that last extra 5 minutes. So, but just was fun. This is what college basketball is about, is just it's fun. I mean, it's more fun that we won, trust me. But I think from a spectator standpoint, you have to acknowledge how entertaining that basketball game was. So just really happy for the guys, excited for them. I could hear the locker room while we were in the coach's locker room, and so they deserve that. That's what you need, that for growth. You need some good wins like that for growth. So was really happy for them.
Lamont, Miles hasn't had the greatest start to the season, but as he said, he just kept shooting and believing in himself, and tonight it seemed to come up. You know, he's a senior, been around. Had you talked to him during this rough start early to the season, and how good was it to see to hit those shots tonight?
Yeah, a little bit, not a whole lot. He's a worker. He has a process, and he doesn't have a process because he's shooting the ball poorly or because he's shooting the ball well. He shoots the ball well because he has a process. He's a professional in terms of how he approaches the work that goes into being a good shooter. So there's no lack of belief. There's been a lack of performance to some degree to his standard, but there's no lack of belief on his end. So and nor on mine. He still shoots. I still believe it. When he lets it go, it should go in most times. So it's got to help for him to have that kind of confidence coming from your coaching staff and from your teammates. He's a known, convicted shooter, shot maker. I think his whole life he's done that. So we were waiting, and he picked the right day to have a good day today with the foul trouble and all the other things that were going on. It was right on time.
All right, there you go. Some comments from Lamont Paris. Of course, everything's up on the website and SportsTalkSC.com. You can use the hashtag if you want to. And also, of course, in podcast form at our podcast locations. Here is Brad Brownell, Clemson head coach. A few of his comments after the loss by his team last night.
First of all, congratulations, South Carolina. Good win. Incredibly hard fought, competitive game. Swings both ways, certainly. Never would have thought that both teams would score like they did in the second half. The defenses coming in, both teams' defenses have been very good, and they were in the first half. But second half, just obviously neither team could really stop each other. Obviously, the free throw blockout misses for us. I think we had 2 were critical. Proud of our guys for fighting. We just kind of the second game in a row where we've dug ourselves a hole and just had to kind of keep battling all the way back. Certainly the fouling was a problem for us at the end. And again, they made 1 or 2 more plays. Colin Murray-Boyle down the stretch was probably the difference.
He's had 0 points, which you don't see very often. What did you tell the guys at halftime, and did he say anything at halftime?
I just thought I didn't think we had very good pace. I didn't think we did a lot of what we came into the game trying to do. I thought we made soft cuts. They pressured us a little bit. It bothered us some. We just didn't have the energy and the competitive fight that we needed from the start. Why that is, I don't really know. Obviously, I think we got it throughout the course of the game. You know, both teams are obviously going to play a little better offensively when the benches are helping, but, you know, I don't really know why that was. Certainly Chase's play was tremendous in the second half for us in overtime.
Brad, with losing Victor and Ian there kind of in end of regulation, then overtime, just how crucial was that with them fouling out? And then going off that with South Carolina, what can you say about them, and what's your assessment of the way they play?
Yeah, obviously that was, you know, Victor had one of his poorer games for us all year. He's coming off a great game and for whatever reason didn't play well tonight. Yeah, Ian fouling out is obviously a problem with Victor already fouled out. We've got Christian in there who doesn't play a whole lot for us, still kind of a developmental big that I'm proud of him. I thought he did some good things. You know, and obviously they had to battle. Colin Murray-Boyles was in some foul trouble, so he didn't play as much as he normally plays. Both teams were jockeying all game. You know, they have a good team. They can play big. They can play small. Pringle helps them when they have he and Boyles out there. They're a big, strong, physical team. And then they can, you know, a guy like Studi has shot the ball poorly all year, makes 5 threes against us today, you know. But they can spread you and put pressure on your team because of that. And being able to we talked about big lineup versus small lineup in the game, but we didn't have an answer for it.
Okay, there you go. Comments of the 2 coaches from last night's game. Heck of a ball game. Both teams shot the ball well, including especially South Carolina, Chris, in the second half. They only missed 6 shots, not counting overtime. They only missed 6 shots in the second half, that 20-minute period of the second half, 16 of 22. And a lot of that was just because of really good execution, good passing from out of the post, but, of course, some dead-eye shooting and Studi shooting the ball like Studi is supposed to shoot the ball.
Yeah, when you shoot 70+% from the field in any half, it's really difficult to lose the game. And I believe it was 4, maybe 5 years ago, the SEC sent out basically a mandate to its schools and said, we've got to get better at men's basketball. Saw a tweet from Peter Burns of ESPN that says the SEC in the month of December, 50-4 overall, and they're 30-4 against the ACC this year. Would have ever thought that the SEC not only would have passed the Atlantic Coast Conference in terms of men's basketball, but start to waylay the league. I mean, It's insanity how good the SEC is right now.
Yeah, you look around the ACC. I mean, look at North Carolina. They lose to Florida in Charlotte last night. Mm-hmm. And it was a pretty they were handed a pretty solid defeat, I believe. And the Gators are undefeated, and I think the Tar Heels are 500. All right, we'll be back.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
This hour from townhall.com, I'm Keith Peters reporting. The battle over the budget or the continuing resolution to fund the government goes on in Washington. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says Congress needs to quickly pass the government funding bill.
Bipartisan cooperation must lead the way. We can't have last-minute delays or grandstanding, or else the American people won't get the funding they deserve, or else we could risk a shutdown.
But President-elect Trump says no, abruptly rejecting a bipartisan plan to prevent a Christmas-time government shutdown. Instead, he's telling House Speaker Mike Johnson and Republicans to essentially renegotiate. That leaves Johnson scrambling to salvage a new plan days before Friday's deadline to keep the government open. Republicans must get smart and tough, Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance said in a statement. The oldest known stone tablet inscribed with the Ten Commandments has been sold at an auction for more than $5 million.
Sotheby's said the 155-pound marble slab was acquired by an anonymous buyer who plans to donate it to an Israeli institution. The New York-based auction house said the final price exceeded the pre-sale estimate of $1 million to $2 million. The sale followed more than 10 minutes of intense bidding during the global competition. The tablet dates from AD 300 to 800 and is inscribed with the commandments in Paleo-Hebrew script. It was unearthed in southern Israel in 1913. I'm Walter Ratliff.
The markets experienced one of their worst days in a year as the Federal Reserve announced there will not be as many interest rate cuts as they had said earlier this year. The S&P 500 fell 2.9% to pull further from its all-time high set a couple of weeks ago. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 1,123 points, and the Nasdaq Composite Index dropped 3.6%. More at townhall.com.
You know, as they say, one person's personal information is another person's treasure.
Exactly. That's why I use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro's safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and trackers. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Attention American homeowners, you're under attack. Your home and equity could be vulnerable to cyber thieves. There's only one company that completely stops them, and that company is Equity Protect. Equity Protect prevents any attempts to steal your home, equity, and ownership 24/7. Get your free risk report today by texting the word HOME to 94878. That's right, text the word HOME to 94878 to get your free risk report. Keep your equity and legacy safe with Equity Protect.
GOP Representative Tom McClintock of California says President Biden has been a disaster on immigration policy.
Under the Biden administration, we have seen the largest illegal mass migration in our history, overwhelming our social services, our public schools, our public hospitals.
McClintock is a member of the House Border Security Caucus. McClintock says border authorities will soon have the resources necessary to secure the border.
The American people have finally given us the tools to secure our border, and this administration, under Trump, is fully prepared to do so. President Trump proved that simply enforcing laws can produce secure borders.
McClintock also said it's time to crack down on sanctuary cities. McClintock held a news conference this morning on Capitol Hill on the priorities of the incoming Trump administration. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. President-elect Donald Trump has
On-point weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Cloudy with a low this evening, dipping down to 55. Tomorrow it's cloudy early. The skies do clear midday, and the sun will rise, but not as warm. A high of 62. More sunshine for Friday and the weekend, but it'll be much cooler. Low temps Saturday and Sunday night in the low to mid-20s. So bundle up. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network on a very busy Wednesday night here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Just a moment. Another edition of Chalk Talk coming your way as we look ahead to the playoff games coming up. I know we've got some bowl games that have been played. Anybody notice? And some bowl games that are being played tonight. Anybody notice? Not really, to be quite honest with you. See what the TV ratings look like.
I'm watching
if anybody
Western
notices.
Kentucky and James Madison right now.
Yeah. Anybody in the stands? The games I glimpsed at had like nobody in the stands.
Now, that's another story, but it's on television. That's all that matters, right?
This is true.
That's why Clemson has to play Memphis, a huge game for them at 11 o'clock in the morning.
That is, we talked about that ad nauseum and how dumb that is. But that's what happens when you give up control to the television people to make all your decisions for you. Okay, let's get into it. It's time for another edition of Chalk Talk here on Sports Talk.
Get ready for a deep dive into the X's and O's. This is Chalk Talk with coaches Chuck Reedy and Ellis Johnson on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, good to have the two coaches with us tonight. We have Coach Ellis Johnson. We have Coach Chuck Reedy, two of the very best to ever walk a sideline in South Carolina, two of the best to ever kick chalk on the sideline in South Carolina, two of the best to berate officials on the field in the state of South Carolina. Welcome in, gentlemen. Chuck, how are you tonight, sir?
Doing great, Phil. Doing great. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Ellis, how are you? I have a special question for you, Ellis, if you don't mind to begin the broadcast.
Can you ask me how I'm doing first?
How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing okay.
Always a pleasure. So, Coach Johnson, we don't do a lot of politics, hardly ever, on this show, but I know that you like to dabble in the political scene from time to time. So I heard today that your friends up in Washington with this continuing resolution want to give themselves a $70,000 pay raise. I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, don't get me started on Washington. I don't know as much as I think I know, but I know enough to know that we don't want to know what they're doing up there. But I did see a piece tonight, and Charlie Baker, the president of NCAA, former governor, who we all thought would bring some sanity to the NCAA and get Congress involved, he's done zip. And today he was trying to tell them it's okay if trans boys dress in locker room with girls. So that's what we are now at the NCAA. I don't know about Washington.
Okay. All right. Well, I hear you. I hear you on that. That's a hot topic for sure. But let's turn our attention to the football field because we got Clemson heading into the playoff on Saturday, Chuck, against Texas. They're 11-point underdogs. So what do you think? Can this Clemson team put a complete game together? Dabo keeps saying they haven't played their best game. He thinks if they can put 4 quarters together that they can beat anybody. What do you think?
Well, I mean, yeah, if you play the perfect game, of course you can. But I think this is right down Dabo's alley. I mean, they love to be the underdog. They love to be the team that nobody gives a chance. So with that being said, I think they're in a really good position, to go and play well, maybe, and a chance to win the football game. I think a couple of things. They played 2 SEC teams. They've scored 17 points. Texas defense probably better than either Georgia or South Carolina. So, they're going to have a hard time scoring, I think. I think the guy I think Quentin Ewers is the guy that'll determine this game. If he doesn't turn the ball over, I don't think Clemson can beat him. But now if he goes out there and turns it over like he did against Georgia, then Clemson hadn't turned the ball over. That's one thing we really improved on. Klubnik has done a great job of protecting the football. If they go out there and get a +2 in the turnover, certainly they can win the football game, and they're good enough to win it if they play well and Texas turns the ball over.
Yeah, that has been you look at the stats, that's a startling difference between the two, how well Clemson protects it and how much Texas turns it over. But Texas also creates a lot of turnovers, Ellis. So you got two defenses that are real ball hawks. What about Clemson, their improvement in that area? What have you seen? What's led them to where they're so good at turning you over?
Well, Western brings a lot of pressure, and I think as long as the secondary holds up, that's very effective. They're not as deep as they used to be up front. I don't know if they're as talented, frankly, but they can't cause as much problems with their front four, and they bring a lot of pressure in order to do that. And it has created some turnovers. I think kind of along the same thing Chuck said, the biggest thing is Clemson's got to get Maffa healthy. He's not been healthy in 4 or 5 weeks. He's played through it sometimes. One game I don't think he played. But if they have any chance, they've got to get a running game to complement the passing game. One thing I do think, their style of passing game, they really take a short drop, quick set, and throw the ball. And if you look back, even South Carolina's got as good a pass rush as anybody in the country on the edge. And they got nothing. The defensive ends never had a pressure or a sack, that I remember. Got a sack off of an inside linebacker's gun. And it was just because of the style of passing game they do. They get the ball out quick, and a lot of times it's 5 out and getting rid of the football. So it'll be a huge task for them to try to win at Texas, but they have no chance if they can't get a running game going.
And Chuck, that goes to you, and Coach Johnson is right in pointing out that Maffa is not himself. He's going to have labrum surgery when the season's over, so we know that. They obviously feel like they have to play him because with Haynes out, what's behind, I guess they don't feel like is good enough that they can win with. So they've got to run Maffa out there. But do you think that they will try and use Maffa more as a decoy and really just run the running game off of Klubnik, and also the passing game obviously off of him, but have Klubnik some pre-called runs for him, and of course letting him when things break down take off and run?
Yeah, they can't win. They can't beat Texas like that. I mean, they're not going to beat Texas with Klubnik throwing the ball 40 times and depending on him running the football to win the game. I mean, like Ellis said, I I don't know Moffa's health status, but they've got to get. He's got to be able to run for 7,500 yards if they're going to be able to move the ball and score points and score enough to beat Texas. And again, like I said, they've scored 17 points against 2 SEC teams. So anyway, they've got a long way to go offensively. Like I said, I think the big thing is if Ewers plays well and doesn't turn the ball over, I think it's really going to be hard for Clemson to win the football game.
You think they run Arch Manning out there in some way, knowing that, I think he's a more mobile quarterback. Mobile quarterbacks have done well against Clemson.
I do. I think, and you don't know Ewers' health either. He's been banged up. You would think with a couple of weeks maybe he's back full speed. If he is, I don't think you'll see a lot of Arch, but like you said, they can put him in there and he certainly is athletic. He can make some plays. It's going to be spot. They're going to throw him in there, for a play here, play there. They're not going to put him in, for a series, I don't think. They haven't, that hadn't been their modus operandi so far.
Ellis, what about the Texas defense? If you had a chance to watch some film of those guys or maybe seen them during the season or know much about their coaching staff and what they do, what do you see from them? What should we expect from the Texas defense? You heard Chuck say earlier how good they are and how tough it could be for the Clemson offense.
I've seen parts of several games, but feel like I've seen kind of the picture of what they are. They're extremely mobile. They're fast. I think probably the best aspect of the whole defense is the ability to bring pressure and not necessarily bring extra people to get pressure. And so I think that'll be a huge key is if Clemson's style of passing game negates that a little bit, maybe that'll help them. But if they can't run the football a little bit, I hate to keep repeating it, run the football a little bit at critical times, it's going to be a target. And I don't know. They're really talented. But I'll leave one thing now. Texas has not beaten a top 25 team this year. They may have been at the time they played them. But if you look now, who's in the top 25, and they lost both times to the only team that's still ranked in the top 25. So Clemson's got to take care of business, take care of the football. They better find a piece of a running game. These last two games against South Carolina and SMU, if they could have run the football when they needed to run the football late in the game, not when you're mixing it in the first quarter, but late in the game when they really need to run the football, they couldn't do it. And if that's the case in this next ball game, I don't see how they overcome that.
Yeah. I mean, both of you guys are saying Clemson just can't win this game by throwing. Now, Chuck, I know that you believe the running game is the ultimate weapon for winning football games. I get that. But when you look at Clemson's situation with the running backs and you look at who they can throw to, I mean, how well – you have to admit that the three wideouts and the tight end, Brenningstool, they've given Clemson four really good receivers. You give Klubnik time. He's completing a high percentage, and he's throwing a lot of touchdown passes. Why wouldn't you just live with that approach, Chuck?
Well, because, I mean, Ellis is, first of all, Ellis said the front is very good. Their secondary is really good. I mean, really good. So, you know, I mean, that may be the only option Clemson has. I don't know. I don't know the health of Mappa. But, you know, anytime you're one-dimensional, and Ellis is a great defensive coordinator, and I would dare say he would tell you, you know, as a defense coordinator, you want to make the offense one-dimensional. If you can do that, you got a really good chance to win the game. And if Clemson becomes one-dimensional, they're not going to win this football game. I mean, they can throw it all. I don't care how good the receivers are. I don't care how good Klubnik is. I mean, if they become one-dimensional, they're not going to win this football game.
Alice, the Clemson defense against this Texas offense, Sammy Brown had a great game in the ACC championship game. I think it was 14 tackles. So you kind of feel like he's got to be on the field now the majority of the time. They can't afford to pull him out for, you know, going into nickel coverage. How would you handle that with the way he's playing with their other personnel right now?
It's a little bit of a mixed bag. Though they're three best, I guess you call it, underneath guys in the perimeter are three linebackers, Carter and Woodaz and who's the kid you just asked about?
Sammy Brown.
Sammy, I'm sorry.
I know it goes quickly, Ellis. I know it goes quickly.
Those three kids right now are playing underneath better than any other defensive back, and I think they've gone to a three linebacker system more lately. And there's just maturity and the progress and the development of Sammy. They can't take him off the field. He's making too many tackles. He may be the leading tackler in the last three games. I'm not sure. But he's really playing well. He's finally figured out the defense and fitting well and run, all that good stuff. And a lot of good players, you know, make stats and tackles, but they'll be letting some of the big plays happen too. And that was a little bit of the case early in the season. But they're the three best. So it's a little bit of a puzzle for Wesley right now because possibly when they have to go to a very definite cover situation, you might have to take one of them off the field. And which one he takes off the field, I mean, I couldn't guess. But they're really three great players. They'll all play in the NFL for sure. Not now, but Carter will be gone, and then Woodaz will go, and then Sammy will be the next one. But that's really not the key. I think the key is they got to get pressure on yours, and if yours is not mobile with that ankle, he'll have some problems because they are still good at rushing the passer.
Chuck, Dabo apparently has seen the recruiting portal John light. Not only did he take a receiver out of the portal John, he also took a kid who went to junior college. So he's checking 2 boxes with one signee there. A guy that went to junior college, and then he's in the transfer portal, John. He's a good-looking kid, big, tall, 6'5" receiver. But I guess Dabo has turned over a new leaf when it comes to this new age of recruiting in college football.
Yeah, and I think a lot more of this is made of it than probably should be. I mean, I think they tried to recruit some offensive linemen a year or two ago.
They did.
Out of the portal. I don't think it's been that they just are, just totally against it. But their concept, is to build, from within and develop and what have you. And, obviously that's worked for them. So, what we've said all along, I think everybody just, if you take 3 or 4 a year to fill needs, that's what you want to do, and then develop the players that you recruit. And if they can do that, and I'm sure that they're probably I would think they're going to be looking for a running back. I mean, based on what we've seen that they have on their roster, I would think they would try to go out and bring in a running back. But I suspect there'll be more that they'll sign out of the portal this year than just this guy.
And today, Ellis, we'll let you guys go after this. We see today that the quarterback at Vanderbilt, Pavia, the NCAA has now given him another year, basically saying that his junior college year didn't count against him. And Dabo said today in talking with the media that this Tristan Smith, who played 2 years in junior college, now they're going to see if maybe he gets extra eligibility. So what do you think of that?
I don't have a clue. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. We don't even get started on the part of all the NIL, all that. But I think the thing with Dabo, what they're trying, he has dabbled into the portal before. People don't realize. But the thing that he has tried to do is not go wholesale, bringing in 5 or 6 every year. Because what you do when you supplant a kid that 2 years ago you were in the living room telling them you'll take over for Joe here in about 2 years and you'll be all conference. Mm-hmm. You're gonna lose all those kids. So what he's trying to avoid is this mass exodus that is a revolving door. I think that he's going to probably continue to do this, add 2, 3, 4 kids each year, and the more you bring in, the more you're going to have guys jumping in and heading out the door. And those are the programs that are going to start having problems. And I think the great thing for Carolina this year, Dabo had a lot of 5th-year and 6th-year guys still in that program, and they were his guys. And they controlled that locker room and kept it as a team, not a group. When you start bringing the portal in and out, sooner or later you just got a group. And trying to keep those guys all on the same page. You point to some guys like Florida State, even Alabama, I think that's an issue. But that's the thing you got to be careful about. When you start having them just come in and out, in and out, in and out, you lose the team concept.
That's a great point. I mean, how do you look at a high school guy and tell him, we're going to develop you and bring you along, but you continue to go into the portal and bring in older players at that position. That's why these guys up and leave. They feel like they're not going to get a shot. Gentlemen, yep. First of all, happy holidays to you, and hope you have a great week next week. I don't know that we'll get together next week because of the holidays. You might not want to get together, but I'll check back with you, and we'll get you back with us as soon as it works with your schedule. We thank you so much, and have a great holiday, Chuck, and have a great holiday, Ellis.
Thanks, Phil. Same to you. Thank you.
And thank you, Ellis. Thank you, Ellis. And thank you, Chuck.
And Phil,
yeah.
My birthday's on the 23rd, so if we're not going to reconvene, do I need to give you my address for sending any gifts or anything?
It's coming to you, UPS. It's coming to you. I got one of your addresses. I'm not sure if it's still the right one, though. That's the problem. Thank you, sir. We'll be right back. We're with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer, let's say I'm out in the woods or I'm on the water and I need to reach a DNR agent. How do I do that?
Operation Game Thief, Phil. It's been around 30-plus years. You can call us at our 24-hour hotline any time of day, 1-800-922-5431. To report wildlife violations or to get help if you're in trouble in the woods or on the water, call us at Operation Game Thief, 1-800-922-5431.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I'm not a case manager. I'm a lawyer for over 35 years. I don't charge 40% for your injury in your wreck case or any on-the-job injury. Call 803-765-2968 and ask for Jim Corbett or email me, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com, for the experience of a lawyer handling your injury case. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968. jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Put 35 years of experience to work on your injury case.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot, and the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wild from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
Thanks again to Coach Reedy and Coach Johnson for being with us tonight here on Sports Talk. It's time for the Recruiting Report. It is brought to you by Seawell's. And for that special event that you may have coming up in 2025, make sure you make Seawell's #1 on your list to do. Just call them or email them. SeawellsCateringSC.com is the website. The phone number, 803-771-7385. Let them know what you're looking for, what you need. They'll take it from there. And, of course, the daily luncheon buffet rolls on this week. Make sure you get over for that from 11 till 2 o'clock at their location on Rosewood Drive in Columbia. All right, so the Gamecocks pick up 2 more out of the transfer portal, John. A tight end in Jordan Dingle, who actually was born in Manning. He is 6'4", 242, transferring from Kentucky. He caught 43 passes, 615 yards, 4 touchdowns over 4 seasons with the Wildcats. Should have 1 year of eligibility with the Gamecocks. He gives them 2 tight ends in the class. Also, Texas A&M transferred defensive tackle Gabriel Brownlow-Dendy, 6'3", 310, committed to A&M back in 22, highly regarded prospect out of Lakeland, Florida, but didn't play much in his 3 years, only appeared in 8 contests, only had 4 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and half a sack. And he gives the Gamecocks 3 defensive tackles in the 25 class, which now counts a total of 29 newcomers. One-time USC target offensive lineman Jordan White, he signed with Vanderbilt. We'll be back with SC Wild here on Sports Talk.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Cloudy with a low this evening, dipping down to 55. Tomorrow it's cloudy early. The skies do clear midday, and the sun arrives, but not as warm. A high of 62. More sunshine for Friday and the weekend, but it'll be much cooler. Low temps Saturday and Sunday night in the low to mid-20s. So bundle up. I'm Cal Moss with your on-point local weather.
Hey y'all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. During this holiday season, families and friends like to get together to celebrate Christmas. If you need a space to host your event or your family get-together, Flight Deck Restaurant can help. We can accommodate parties from 10 to 100, everything from setup to cleanup. Now, most importantly, during this wonderful Christmas, we at Flight Deck and our families want to thank our Father in Heaven for sending Jesus to be our Lord and Savior. Thanks y'all, and may God bless you, and may God bless America. Merry Christmas.
News. I'm Keith Peters reporting. A Wisconsin police chief says the shooter at a religious school in Madison had 2 handguns with her, but used only one in the attack that killed a teacher and a student and wounded 6 others. Police Chief Sean Barnes tells the Associated Press on Wednesday the police are still investigating why the 15-year-old student at Abundant Life Christian School shot and killed a fellow student and teacher Monday before shooting herself. New York prosecutors are using a 9/11-era anti-terrorism law in their case against the man charged with killing United Healthcare's CEO. Luigi Mangione was indicted this week on charges of murder as an act of terrorism. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 1,123 points. The Nasdaq dropped 716. More details at srnnews.com.
This Christmas, gather your loved ones as we at TBN celebrate
customer service. We all talk about how it's gone down the tubes in recent years, but not everywhere. Not with the Hickory Hill Insurance Agency. These are the folks I want you to feel comfy reaching out to for your Medicare and health insurance needs. Tim Hanberry and Medicare Blueprint have joined Hickory Hill Insurance. The result? Even better customer service with a bigger team to help you by utilizing the very best technology in the industry. And you know what else? Just plain old caring about people and treating them like their family. When you call them, you'll get a call back. Fast. When you need a question answered, they'll take the time to help. This industry's so confusing and so ever-changing. They have a team that knows the best plans for you. They'll ask all the questions, they'll get all the answers, and as always, it won't cost you a penny to get their services. The best way to learn more? Visit their website, partdandme.com. That's partdandme.com, or call the team at Hickory Hill Insurance Agency. They're local, and they're willing to talk one-on-one. Remember, customer service still matters. 708-7398. 708-7398, or online, partdandme.com.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Santa and his elves spend all year getting ready for one night. But there are some things that even the big man himself leaves to the professionals. Palmetto State Armory is here to supply the gifts for all the outdoorsmen on his list. Everything from guns and ammo to hunting gear, accessories, apparel, gift cards, and more. Santa trusts PSA to help him finish filling all those stockings. That's why the last stop the sleigh makes before the big trip is Palmetto State Armory. Palmetto State Armory, for the gifts the elves can't make.
Lots of plumbing companies out there. Few are truly local. Time to discover the difference with Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. See, when I faced plumbing woes at the Cohen home, Josh and his dedicated team, well, they were my go-to solution. They make a commitment to exceptional service. They arrived on time, clearly detailed all the costs and procedures, and efficiently handled all my repairs without any surprises. These days, how often do we complain about a lack of customer service out there? With Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, these folks are professional. They're courteous. They're skilled at what they do, and they've earned my trust, and they've earned my recommendation to you. From urgent repairs to the tankless water heater you've always wanted, they've got it covered. Visit franklinplumbing.sc.com or call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. Hey, you tell them Kev sent you from The Point. I'm pretty sure you'll want to thank me later.
It's SC Wild with Major Billy Downer from the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer is here to answer your questions about the great outdoors. Call in now at 888-898-2525 and join SC Wild on the Sports Talk Media Network.
And let's go outdoors with Major Billy Downer here on SC Wild on Sports Talk from the Department of Natural Resources. Pleasure to have the Major with us once again. He's traveling. He's on the road somewhere. I don't know where. Major, welcome in, sir. Happy holidays to you. And where are you coming to us from?
Good evening. I am coming to you live from the great state of New Jersey.
Oh, wait a minute. You're out there looking at the drones? Are you checking the drones out?
I am not looking at the drones, but everybody has asked that question.
I bet.
No, we are up here. We're up here waterfowl for a little waterfowl season up in New Jersey. So actually enjoying the great outdoors once again.
Absolutely. You know, if you see one of those drones, could you reach it with one of your rifles? Think you could get a shot on it?
We're not using rifles for waterfowl, Phil. Come on, you know that. Shotguns. But, yes, we probably could reach it with a shotgun. Absolutely. If you see a drone. But everybody has asked that. We say you're going to New Jersey. Well, let us know if you see a drone. So, anyway, yeah. No drones so far. Everything's been safe. We're going to talk about waterfowl tonight a little bit. Going to bring in just talking about where our waterfowl numbers have been on our public Category 1 areas, the Cape, and down at the Santee, at our Old Santee Gun Club, Santee Coastal Reserve. Our numbers look really good for the November portion of the waterfowl season. Those numbers, the top area for the state, Murphy Island, and you know, Phil, you love these numbers, but 5.5 ducks per man, followed by Cedar Island at 4.7 ducks per man, and then the Cape at 4.5 ducks per man. And yes, I know it's 0.5. I don't know what a half a duck may look like, or 7/10 of a duck, but anyway, those are the averages. The top duck in the bag at Murphy Island was actually, interestingly enough, was Gabwall, followed by the American Widgeon, which is pretty cool, and then green-winged teal, of course, were high in all three areas. But Widgeon was pretty interesting to see, and then of course mottled ducks were taken as well at all three areas. But the top duck for the Murphy Island was the Gabwall, so followed very closely by some pintails in there too. So Gabwall, Widgeon, green-winged teal, and pintails being the top four rounding it out at Murphy Island. So pretty interesting to see that those quality, what we call quality ducks there. Pintail, everybody wants a chance at pintail. Mottled ducks, of course, but you get widgeon like that up there. That's really neat. So it's good to see the widgeon numbers back up. I see an increased number of those. But it hasn't been a while since I've seen widgeon actually their numbers up. So it's good to see that. But anyway, waterfowl season is back in full swing as of December the 12th. Waterfowl impoundments across the state lit up this past weekend, and we are into the remaining section of the season goes through January 31st. So our 6-duck limit again continues through the rest of the season. You'll remember that your bluebill limit will change here in December very shortly from 2 to 1 for the remainder of the season. But numbers look good. You know, up here, you come up here and it is 30. You know, it was 30 degrees this morning. Cold, but not really cold. Ended up being about 50 degrees by 11 o'clock. So things slow down up here. But you want to know what in the world would you be up in New Jersey for? Well, New Jersey has pretty interesting. They have Brant, the Atlantic Brant. So it's interesting to see those numbers. Those birds are just unique to this area. We get some in South Carolina, but they have a lot of high numbers of Brant here in New Jersey, so it's fun. So get a chance to take to try a challenge, to take something new or something different, and we were successful today, so a lot of fun. But good day afield. South Carolina temperatures have gotten warm again. Typically hasn't been good for waterfowling, but we do have good waterfowl numbers. Cold fronts going to move in before Christmas again. Deer season's still in. Deer season will follow through January 1st. So for those of you that have not, taken a deer this year, you still got time. Buck activity has been really slow. With the colder weather in the last week, we've seen some increased buck activity. Don't know if there'll be a late quote-unquote rut or not, but there is some increased activity across the state with deer, and some nice deer are being taken here late season. So don't count it out. My daughter shot one years ago. It was 8 years ago now for her. She shot a record buck as far as, state record buck. She shot it the day after Christmas. So there is still time to shoot a nice deer. It can happen, even though things are slow. If you've got cameras, keep them out. Keep food out for as you get toward the end of the year. A lot of people quit feeding deer, or they don't have the food plots kept up, and that can run your numbers down. You won't see deer activity as much. But anyway, that's where we are at this point in the season. Looking forward to again the second waterfowl season, deer season wrapping up. We're in, some of the small game right now. Squirrels, rabbits are good. This is fun for a lot of people. So that's kind of where we sit right now with hunting season across the state. Fishing, this time of year, stripers are still doing pretty well. Lake Marion, stripers doing fairly well. So we'll be watching that. We'll talk about that more probably as we get into next month. But typically cold weather, fishing gets better on the coast as far as, when you talk about trout, speckled trout bites doing good. As it gets really cold, they'll slow down. But right now, speckled trout bite is good. I've heard some really good numbers from Allendale up even to Murrells Inlet. So very good there. And then again, stripers across the state in our state lakes, particularly in Lake Marion, it's one of my favorites. They are doing very well right now, drifting. So with herring. So anyway, that's kind of the whole picture of our state as we speak right now. And as we get ready for Christmas, I would continue to offer ideas for folks looking for that last-minute Christmas gift for the sportsman and sportswoman in your life. Just sitting here with a bunch of game wardens from New Jersey and asking that age-old question, what's the best gift? And when we ask that question, what's the best gift you ever got for Christmas, everybody throws out a rifle, shotgun, some type of gun. And those are expensive gifts, and those are always nice. But don't forget the small stuff, like this morning when it's cold. Something that's really nice, hand warmers. And you can buy those packs of hand warmers, a big pack of them, and give that sportsman in your life something to keep their hands warm on cold mornings. Those are nice. They're not but like $1 or $2 a piece for a pack of them, but you can get a big pack of them and give them several of them to take a field more than once. So those are great stocking stuffers. Again, those are the hot hands. They're typically called hot hands. We've always said, we said this last show, and I'll say it again, as dumb as it sounds, even this group brought up socks. Socks is where it's at. It doesn't matter where you hunt. If you hunt ducks, if you hunt deer, if you hunt rabbits, it doesn't matter. Good pair of socks in cold weather is always nice. Good pair of wool socks, always a great choice. And those are available at Sportsman's Warehouse, Bass Pro Shops, and local sporting goods stores in your area. So those are great, again, stocking stuffers. Everybody doesn't want to give a pair of socks for Christmas for the main gift, but they're always good for that good stocking stuffer for sure.
I got a question, since you're talking about holiday gifts, and you're talking about tangible things that you can put, your hands or your feet on or your body in, that kind of stuff, and that's great. But you are on a hunting trip with other wardens, so my question to you is, give us an idea of some good hunting trips for holiday gifts. Now, not trips that you have to take maybe right away. It could be a trip maybe in the spring or maybe in the summer. If you were going to give a trip to somebody as a holiday gift, what in your mind are good trips to take that would make for good gifts?
Okay, so trips can be a good option. You've got to be really So that takes you into a whole nother realm of questions. What does that person in your life like to do? When you go on a trip, you're looking at $3,500, $4,000 probably, maybe more, for a good trip, just to go maybe duck hunting out of state. You're looking at $2,000-$3,000 for a trip, for a duck hunt. One of the big things is making sure you get a reputable guide. Make sure that you look in, do some research. Everybody's got an internet site anymore. Everybody's got a Facebook page. Do some research. Check the Facebook page out. See what kind of comments are out there. Look or talk to people who have been on good trips. One of the best sources of information is talking to somebody that's been somewhere already, if you can, and get them to tell you what their trip was like, where's the best place to go. Then you really get good referrals that way. Otherwise, you can end up somewhere that's just fly by night. It jumped up. They got some great pictures on the internet, but they're not a good guide service. They don't take care of you. They're not safe. And those are things, of course, that are number one for me. Number one, that you're safe. Number two, that you take care of your customers when you go. You can have a good time. Here's the thing. When you go hunting, it's not always guaranteed. You go duck hunting, you may not see any ducks. But do you have a good time? Do they take care of you? Do they feed you in the blind? Do you have a nice place to stay, a warm place to stay? You're not in a rat hole, those kind of places. That makes the trip worthwhile. Is the guide got a good personality? Do they know how to talk to you in the blind and just keep things going? For a duck hunt, that's everything. It's finding a good duck hunt. And so there's some good ones out there. There's some places I've been that are good. I've been to some that are bad. But across the country, and then here comes another one. Where do you want to go? Reelfoot Lake's a big one. A lot of people have been there in Tennessee. I know people have gone to North Carolina to Mesquite. I know people have gone to Texas. I know people go to Arkansas. They go to Kansas. And the place, so to speak, quote unquote, changes over the years. Arkansas used to be a place everybody went. Well, then Arkansas kind of gets burnt out a little bit. Then people start going to Oklahoma. They go to Kansas, and then that gets a lot of pressure, and then that changes. North Carolina used to be good. It's not as good anymore day in, day out. So it just takes time to work through that. But finding the good place, talk to somebody that's been in a good place, check into it, look for a reputable guide. That's waterfowl. Dove hunting. A lot of people want to go dove hunting out of the country. So here's another thing. Argentina's a great place to go. You're going to spend $3,000 to $5,000 on that trip. With flights, guides, ammo, those kind of things. You don't take a gun down there. You use their guns. You pay for ammo there. Quality dove hunt for 2 days. Great trip. Usually in Argentina, out of Cordova is one of the big places there. Again, you're going to spend around $5,000 for that trip. There's some really good places there to go. But remember, to do that, here we go again. Think ahead of time. You're going to have a passport, all these things. But you can plan for that. And you can buy these trips. And a lot of these guides will give you a year, 2 years to take the trips. You don't have to take it, like you said, next week, next month. So those are some good things there. Then you got the big sport stuff. But you go out west and go elk hunting or mule deer hunting. I was looking at those prices. Mule deer hunts now are around $5,000 to $10,000. Elk hunts now are above $7,500 to $10,000 to $12,000 for an elk hunt. These are trips of a lifetime now. I call them, when I say trip of a lifetime now, because everybody can't do it every year, year in, year out. So there are some good trips. Again, states are important, knowing what states you can go to get tags, because elk are low in number, so you have to look at states that have a tag system that is more free across the table, either across the counter tags, we call it. Colorado's one of those great states. Wyoming, another great state right behind that. You go to a private outfitter, sometimes they have what they call private land tags, and those are going to be the expensive hunts, $14,000, $15,000. And they're going to, guarantee you an opportunity at an elk. Again, end of the day, they're guaranteeing you an opportunity. You've got to take the shot. You've got to be prepared. And sometimes the opportunity may be 300 or 400-yard shot. I mean, everybody's not used to that. So lots of things come into play when you start talking about going on a trip or buying a trip for someone. So you really got to know the person you're buying the trip for, and just find out everything you can about the guide. Again, you want a quality trip for someone. And then some trips allow you to take a hunter and observer Africa trips are great. Those get up there. Again, you can get those trips for around $2,700, $3,000 for some of these trips in South Africa, not the $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 when you're trying to take the big five type animals. If you go there for just a typical plains game, maybe an impala, a zebra, kudu, gemsbuck, those kind of hunts can be had for around $3,000. Now, I'll tell you this, the most expensive part about that trip is not the trip itself, but the flight to get there and back, around $2,000 for that flight. And then the fees that come after the fact. You may get the trip, you can kill 3 to 5 animals for $3,000, $3,500, but you're going to have to get them, the hide needs to be prepared, packed, dipped, salted, all these things, and then shipped back to you in the States if you're going to get that animal mounted. And there's fees for that. There are U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service permits have to be gotten. All that can be done, again, reputable guide. Talk to someone who's been to Africa, who's been to one of the places you're thinking about going to. Check out the websites, really do your research. Find a good, reputable guide service before you go any trip, whether in the country or out of the country. That is primos.
Now, after watching Yellowstone for 5 years, I feel like Montana would be an awesome place to go on a trip. But let me ask you this before you talk about Montana. Is the state of South Carolina viewed by folks in other part of the country as a destination point for outdoor trips like this?
So, great question. South Carolina does have some things to offer for the outdoorsman. A lot of us in South Carolina don't realize the things we have here, like a 4.5-month deer season. There's a lot of people that come here to deer hunt because we have a season that is so long and allows for so much opportunity. We have a tremendous deer herd in South Carolina. We may not have the biggest deer. We have some nice deer, but we have a lot of deer, and our season goes for a long time. So that's one of the attractive pieces for South Carolina there. Red fishing on the coast. A lot of people come here to redfish. Just like they go to Louisiana, they come here to redfish. A lot of people will, again, some people come here for turkeys that don't have turkeys in their state, want an eastern wild turkey. So a lot of folks will go for what they call the slam. They're trying to get a turkey, each of the turkey species, and they may come to South Carolina for a turkey hunt. So it just depends on what that person's looking for. But we're known for a really long deer season. That's one of the things we have best. Now, we used to be known for quail. Times change, things change. So our quail population is not what it used to be. So we're not really a quail destination anymore. But we do, again, deer season, waterfowl, somewhat. There's a lot of people that come here to duck hunt now because we have so many of the big impoundments. So a lot of people will try those and come there. But again, those are so privatized, it's not as much for the public. So we're not huge on that. But again, to me, I think the number one thing we have is our deer season probably. And then our turkey season for a lot of folks as well, because we've had a pretty good turkey population for a long time. Now we're seeing some decline right now as the whole Southeast sees decline, but right now it's kind of where we are. But before we go tonight, let me mention one more gift idea. I just helped a friend of mine with this past week, and something a lot of people don't think about. Lifetime hunting and fishing licenses are a great gift. Whether you're a grandparent, parent, doesn't matter. They're a great gift item because they last a lifetime. Let me tell you why that's important. A friend of mine was just moving out of state. His daughter just graduated Clemson. And before they moved out of state, I was telling him, I said, look, you need to go ahead and buy a lifetime license for you and your daughter before y'all move. If you don't, you're going to pay in 2 years what you would pay for that lifetime license. It's $500 for a lifetime combination hunting and fishing license. That includes a big game permit. You can come back to the state. If you buy that while you're a resident of South Carolina and you move away, if you come back, you still have that resident license and you still hunt as a resident of South Carolina. So if your child is graduating college, graduating high school, great gift idea is that lifetime license because you're giving them the privilege of being able to be a resident here in South Carolina and hunt for life in this state, the state they grew up in. That's a great gift idea. And if you're a grandparent and you have a grandchild, grandson or granddaughter, before the age of 2, you can buy that lifetime license for $300. before the age of 2. So there's a little secret there. Again, you can add to that through the years. You can add lifetime waterfowl later to it. You can add a lifetime saltwater license to it. So there's a lot of things you can add in the future if you buy it now for a young person and you want to add to it next Christmas. But those are great. That's a great item. And again, I've helped some folks with that just didn't know, hey, you're moving out of state and you're a resident of South Carolina, buy your lifetime license now before you move. And it gives you the privilege of being a resident when you come back and you have that license. You don't have to buy it anymore. You still got it. And that, again, if you do that, it's a great thing to have. Not only does it help us as far as lifetime licenses, that money to the department helps us match federal funds in the future as well for a long time. But it helps you in that you can come back and you don't have to worry about buying your license. You've always got it.
That sounds like a great deal and a way to plan early, because you're starting early with a young person there. That sounds like a great idea.
And if they're over 3, over 2 years old, so again, 4 2 years old, $300. After that, up to 16, it's $400 before they're 16, and then after that, it's $500. So $500 still is a good deal. You think about if you're going to live for 20 years, buy the license because you're going to outdo your license. The license is $25 for a combination license. In 20 years, you pay for it if you get it now. So a lifetime license is a great gift idea. It just works real well. And again, it helps us out because it helps us match federal dollars with our license.
Now, the one thing you haven't told us is how well you've been doing on this particular hunt.
I did tell you, we came up here. For one thing, we came up here to experience a brant hunt. We got to do that this morning. We're going to do it again tomorrow. We had a good time, saw a lot of brant. We're successful today. It was a lot of fun. It's just different coastal hunting in saltwater. It's a very harsh environment. You got saltwater everywhere. You got tides to worry about. And saltwater and shells and guns doesn't always marry up very well. So we're cleaning the guns tonight really well. But anyway, having a good time, enjoying seeing some friends and spending time outdoors. And I know we're getting close to leaving. Before we go, I just want to remind folks this Christmas, as you're spending time with your family, and you may have folks that come in that haven't hunted in a while, make sure you have a safe hunt. Make sure everyone knows how to handle a firearm. Make sure that firearm's unloaded when not in use, and make sure when you decide to take a shot that you identify that target and you make sure what it is in front of the target, in front of it, behind it, beyond it, so you know when you pull that trigger what you intend to shoot. That's the number one thing to remember over Christmas season as you have family coming in. Just be careful, have fun, and have a Merry Christmas next week.
And same to you, sir. You continue to be safe on your trip. You and the Downer clan, you guys have a great holiday, a Merry Christmas. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to a great 2025, talking about the great outdoors in South Carolina.
Thank you, Phil. Have a good night.
Thank you, Major. As always, we appreciate you. Major Billy Downer, Department of Natural Resources, SC Wild, here on Sports Talk. We thank him for being with us tonight. Okay, now we continue this week from the beach. Tomorrow night, more coverage of the All-Star game and the All-Star preparations here. We'll also attempt to catch up with Shrine Bowl coach Reggie Kennedy. This is a strange week having both games on the same day. And, kind of split our attention to some degree, but not totally. Also strange that you've had so many top players opt out of the Shrine Bowl, which led the Shrine Bowl to reach down and pull up players from this game. I think I was told today by one of the folks that 14 roster changes had to be made since they named the original rosters for this game. Looking forward to it, though, rest of this week from the beach. And thank you, Josh. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow.